Okay. Quickly, I had to convey a message to a group of friends about what am I doing. So I didn't have time to make it very neat thing, but I thought I can scribble. Briefly, my last 8 years journey, 8 to 10 years journey is I'm working on KG-12, right? And education as such has 3 dimensions. One is access, that children are going to school, and another is quality, and the third is what they are doing is in the right direction, the relevance part, right? Relevance is actually about the R&D into the market that the child is likely to enter in next 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years if she is just joining at the KG level. So it's about how fast life is changing and how fast technologies is actually changing the landscape. So are we really making our kid ready for that? This is one part. And the quality part is essentially the issue in that lies in teachers' training. Is the teacher trained and motivated? All right. Access part is a little broader spectrum, basically government, but government alone in developing countries can't do so. Everybody should contribute to an extent into that, but that's not an area which I'm working on. But so what exactly does it mean? In terms of R&D, nobody is doing it. At least in Pakistan, I'm talking. People are not doing it. Schools don't have any R&D. Education departments don't have any R&D. They are teaching what they used to teach in 1940s and 30s. And things in last 2 decades have drastically changed. And we know what AI and machine learning and NLP and these things are going to change totally. In teachers training, the things that are critical are that what really matters in terms of learning. What matters most is quality of interaction. And what matters less, but actually both are equally important, but in terms of kind of if you give a weightage, does not mean only this can work. A logically sequenced and well-designed course which comes from the relevance, but that logical sequence means some team has to do very engaging session plans in which the child is really connected, so that enough time is left for activities for the child, for the life skills, for trips, for extracurriculars, because that segment is almost kind of totally ignored. Now, if we look at it, what's the condition now, and which we are trying to address is, in terms of interaction, 1 out of 20 teachers internationally, everywhere, know how to talk and how to listen, the basic of the communication. Only 5% or less than that teachers are really skilled on it. So they don't connect. Now, taking a BSc or MSc in her subject and through the system, plus giving a textbook in her hand, does it really make a teacher? Does not. Now, what's the result? The result of all this is 100% students, 99.9999, maybe 1 or 2 are exception if his father or his uncle can tutor him. 100% of the students in O and A level or inter level are after 3 o'clock going to academies, tuition academies. What a waste of time in first 6 hours. Now, what does the academy do? What is the magic wand they have? They help them cram things for vomiting in the exam. So they are preparing them for a vomiting in the exam, nothing more, nothing less. It's not that at the end of it they really love that subject. How can you make love of the subject in 45 minutes? They have just 35 minutes, 40 minutes chemistry, then come psychology, then come language, then come this. They are only preparing them. So at the end, the child feels relieved of the pain or the stress which she is getting. Okay, it's a make or break thing. Do something. He's not inspired. Not at all. It has anything to do with that. Whatever he has done in the academy or A grade in the NAR has really inspired him. So most of them are totally disconnected from that. The other component which if you see in terms of quality, the physical or the emotional or the EQ or the spiritual or the team building or the life skills, confidence, it is simply not in the list. Because Oxford, Cambridge or local boards, they don't have any exam on it. We are preparing them for exams. So very easy to understand. So it's not in the list. It's not in the design at all because not in the exam. And we are still calling it education. So what's happening out of all this total system is the product is a mass of wage slaves. 99% of them can't talk in the language which whatever they need functionally in their way of working. On the other hand, what we need to do and should be doing is create self-learners. Time have changed a lot. People who can think for themselves, for their life, can see the problems around, can start thinking about them. And while they are in the school, they can see the connection between what they are doing in the school or university. My concern is KG-12. To their life and to their emotions, and they see, yeah, if I know this, oh, that's opens up a huge lot of interesting openings for me. The word interesting or word happy or word inspired, that's not in the objective of the existing system. So that's how the entire thing, they are doing things in the school for the sake of imposed labor. It's like a Fauji who is just taken to the drill every day, but that's all. They're very happy if you tell them that there is a uncle's marriage, and if the uncle marriage continues for 365 days, they will opt to go there 365 days. They will not go to school. Where does the kind of, how can we do that? We create self-learners and who can think in this. This took me quite some time, but eventually it turns out that things are far more simpler and beautiful. Just we didn't think about it. Initially, when you start working on these kind of research projects, you think there's lots of things needs to be done, but no, it's not lost. It's actually the subtraction which needs to be done, not the addition. We have been compiling things randomly here and there without any direction. There are 24 topics in the maths, all useless. In good system, there are 4 topics, but very deep and very engaging and interesting. So again, 2 things. On this is very interesting. We have the data from around the world. What market skills are really needed. Go to World Economic Forum and they will tell you what skills are staying in next 10 years, what are fading away, and what new skills will be required. We know that 21st century skills, we already know that. Quality, this area really needs a lot of work because we have now about 50-60 years of research and about 400 million students meta research data on the science of learning. Now, science of learning is something sort of mix of psychology, it's a mix of cognitive sciences, and behavioral sciences, and all our spiritual and emotional things. It's a sort of mix of that. Primarily behavioral science and cognitive and psychology together, and a bit of knowledge on how logically things should be sequenced from simple concept to complex, and from less difficult to more difficult. And that's very easy. I mean, you teach them cell and they start understanding how the cell works, an analogy of a kitchen, or you give an analogy of a city, or you give an analogy of a factory. It depends where the kids are. So that's simple it is. This R&D, a big first round in 8 to 10 years it took me, but eventually it found out that the actually 10 years journey from 0 to 10, research, a huge lot of research on, is actually doable in 5 to 7 years. We are simply wasting children's time. Only less than 1% should be going to university. For them, stream should be different. But this is the age where they essentially learn the basic, how to read, how to write, and the basics of maths. Here is the skill that where they should be fast prepared for the life which is coming. All of them don't have to be kind of technologists. Most of them have to be SMEs or self-learners. A big percentage still in the world is who are working for small, medium businesses, and they are self-employed. A big percentage is that. Then there are management people, and there are technologists, the scientists. But we are just creating the same thing for everybody till 12, and almost useless. So this is what it is, and that's what I'm working on, and almost I'm sort of done on it. Started teachers training. You can have a question, why don't you then help the other system? Yes, I trained about more than 500 teachers. They take it very good. Teacher enjoys and feels empowered when you have knowledge, and you can really enjoy that. But then system actually pulls her back into the same calendar, which is rubbish. Which is, okay, prepare this child for it. She comes back to the same routine as we call them curriculum delivery guy. We don't want a curriculum delivery guys. And if we go and see the e-atlas of UNESCO, we'll find about kind of 29 million teachers are required, primary and the school level, to if the access level is addressed. But there are no teachers. I went to Punjab, for example, in Pakistan. They don't have any teachers training forum worth calling teachers. So now what are they doing? They asked their headmaster to please take out 2 days, 3 days and train teachers in your vicinity. Now imagine if I am from the same system and I don't have any research and I'm bogged down in 99% into the administrative works, what training I'll deliver? Teachers, even at the primary school, their trainings are designed by psychologists, behavioral scientists, and subject specialists together, tapping on the research that's now available, how child learns, how humans learn, and what pace, and how we will go. So unintentionally, then we create a kind of hatred. Our child is, love is far from that. Our child is stressed and actually mutanaffir hai, and a kind of bezar hai from the system that we are offering. So that is the story. Thank you very much.